The ghastly wagon massacre. The wagon massacre is staged at Tirur in Malappuram on 19th November 1921 is one of the biggest massacres staged by the British in Indian history. But the colonial authorities chose to belittle it, naming it Wagon Tragedy. A total of 70 people become martyrs in it. The horrific and most tragic incident happened when the historic Malabar Rebellion had just completed 3 months. When the Malabar administration found that they could not lodge the freedom fighters captured during the Malabar Rebellion in Tirur sub-jail and other jails in Malabar, it decided to take them to Bellary in Karnataka in train in batches of 100 people. The prisoners were taken in goods wagons several times to Bellary. On the fateful day of November 19th, nearly 100 prisoners were herded into a windowless goods wagon of Madras South Maratha Railway bearing number LV 1711 and its doors were shut. Sergeant Andrews was in charge of sending out the contingent. The train number 77, Calicut Madras passenger train, to take them to Bellary, reached Tirur station at 7:15 p.m. and the wagon was attached to the train. Of the 100 sentenced prisoners, 97 were Muslims and 3 were Hindus. The wagon had 3 chambers and its walls were made of wooden sheets while the roof was of iron. The closed goods wagon had no provision for air to pass. There was a guard in the brake van in front. A head constable and 5 constables accompanied them in the third-class compartment attached to the front portion of the brake van. By the time the train reached Shorno station around 8:40 p.m., the prisoners had already become exhausted and had collapsed. But the constables or railway officials did not inquire about the condition of the prisoners. Nobody cared for their agonizing cries and wails at Shornur and Olavakot stations. By midnight, 12:30, the train reached Podanur near Coimbatore. Only the police constables came to open the doors of the wagon after a passenger demanded the same. Hearing the cries, by then 56 persons had succumbed. The police constables sent back these 56 bodies in the same wagon back to Tirur. Sergeant Andrews oversaw this action also. The rest of the 44 prisoners were taken to Coimbatore, supervised by Dr. Connor, in a train at 4:30 a.m. But 6 more died by the time the train reached Coimbatore. Of the remaining prisoners, 13 were taken to Coimbatore Civil Hospital and 25 were admitted to the Central Jail Hospital. Of the 13 taken to the Civil Hospital, 2 died while being admitted, while 4 died the next day. 2 more died on November 26, taking the total toll to 70. At Tirur, wailing local people received 52 bodies. 44 of them were buried at Korangoth Mosque and 4 were buried at Jamaat Masjid. Bodies of 3 Hindu victims were buried at Mutturkunnu. When newspapers flashed the news, the massacre attracted global attention. The British cabinet meeting held at 3:15 p.m. on November 22, 1921 and discussed the matter. The Prime Minister informed his cabinet colleagues how the crowding of too many persons in a closed goods wagon had led to the tragedy. The meeting observed that it was quite unfortunate that the incident had happened at a time when the Princess of Wales had made a successful visit to India. And in that manner, the massacre perpetrated by the British colonialists became just a tragedy in history. Let us read history in the correct manner and remind ourselves of our struggle at a time when the rulers of the country and the Sangh Parivar relentlessly tried to belittle those struggles by upholding the labels cast on them by the British. They are upholding the British labeling of the Great Rebellion by farmers in Malabar as Mapla Mutiny and are trying to erase the brave warriors of Malabar from the list of freedom fighters. Let's not forget history and let us not forget our brave warriors.